Hello, you're watching ERi-TV. Welcome to English News Broadcast. These are the top stories. One patient who was receiving medical treatment has fully recovered and discharged from a hospital. Congress of ERi-TV organization held in Juba. Gallup data says almost 97% of Afghans stare at poverty amid grim economic prospects. And in Peru, President Castillo imposes curfew in Lima. The local news. We have an announcement from the Minister of Health. One patient who has been receiving medical treatment in hospital in the southern region has fully recovered and has been discharged from the facility. The total number of recovered patients has accordingly increased to 9,625, while the number of deaths stands at 103. And the total number of confirmed cases in the country to date stands at 9,728. Minister of Health, Asmara, April 5, 2022. ERi-TV organization in Juba, South Sudan, held its third Congress on April 3rd. At the Congress, in which about 200 members of the organization took part, Mr. Johannes Michael, Eritrean ambassador to South Sudan, said the organization since its establishment 7 years ago has conducted commendable activities and called for reinforced effort in developing organizational capacity and awareness of the youth. On the occasion, the chairman of the organization, Mr. Ab, presented activity report, and the participants conducted extensive discussion on the report presented and adopted various recommendations. The Congress also elected new executive committee. In the same vein, the Eritrean embassy in Uganda organized a seminar to nationals focusing on the history and development of Eritrean national identity. In the research paper he presented, Mr. Al-Amin Hamid said that Eritrean identity is based on solid foundation, and the hostile efforts to weaken it have failed by the strong unity and perseverance of the Eritrean people. The participants underlined the significance of organizing such seminars and developing their understanding on the current situation in the homeland and called for its sustainability. Speaking at the event, the Eritrean ambassador to Uganda, Mr. Mohammed Suleiman, gave extensive briefing on the objective situation in the homeland as well as regional developments. Members of the Youth Workers Organization and the Central Region, accompanied by Mr. Sahaye Haile, governor of the region, visited the progress of the developmental and infrastructure activities in the southern region. Upon visiting the Mislam Dam as well as the agricultural activities in Halhala, the participants were provided briefings on the progress so far registered and on the future programs. The participants expressed satisfaction of the progress they observed firsthand in the areas, stating that they were able to observe the effort being made to develop irrigation as well as dairy farming and milk products. The participants said they came to understand the strong foundation put in place to ensure food security, pointing out that dairy farming has been initiated in 2017 with fuel milk cows. Mr. Jim Abdullah, head of dairy farming project at the Livestock and Crops Corporation, said currently, the project is in good condition in terms of skilled human resources and facilities. Engineer Berhane Bayene, head of Mislam Dam project, said the dam is one of the strategic dams constructed by internal capacity and has the potential of holding 40 million cubic meters of water and cultivating 500 hectares of land. Vegetables farming in Fort Osawa subzone is dramatically contributing in creating job opportunity as well as in the supply of products to the market with fair price. In an interview with ERINA, Mr. Abubakar Mahmoud, administrator of the subzone, said as a result of the initiative and intervention by various government institutions and partners, the residents have been able to transform their lifestyle from herding to vegetables and fruits cultivation, and that has created positive impact on their lives. Mr. Abubakar also called on the farmers alongside cultivation of temporary crops and vegetables to give more focus to fruit trees. Mr. Orbe Gabrem Ablak, head of economic development at the subzone, said more than 2,000 hectares of land are cultivated annually in the administrative areas of Forto, Ta'alai, Homib, and Molover, and over 300 100,000 yield is being collected. Mr. Orba also said that vegetable farming beyond production is also creating job opportunity to a number of residents, and more effort is being exerted to encourage farmers to plant banana, mangoes, as well as other fruit trees. Training program on application of composed natural fertilizers and pesticides has been organized to farmers. This is according to further reports. Now back with international news after a short break. Welcome back. Almost 97% of Afghans face the prospect of living below the poverty line by mid-2022. This according to the latest collab data from the crisis-stricken South Asian country. The data, published yesterday, shows more than 94% of Afghans rating their lives poorly enough to be considered suffering, the highest level measured for any country since 2005. It says the people of Afghanistan are universally struggling to get by on their household income, with most of them finding it difficult to afford food. According to how Afghans rated their current and future lives in the survey, Gallup has classified individuals as thriving, struggling, or suffering. Based on the study conducted after the U.S. withdrawal in August last year, 96% of women in the country are considered to be suffering compared to 92% of men. The economic situation and overall living conditions have worsened in the landlocked country since the chaotic U.S. withdrawal, which was followed by the freezing of Afghan assets. Peru has witnessed protests triggered by rising fuel and fertilizer costs in the wake of the Ukraine war. Peruvian President Pedro Castillo has imposed a curfew in the capital Lima in his latest effort to temper a wave of protests triggered by rising fuel and fertilizer costs. The move comes as demonstrators across the country continued into their second week. The government has been unable to bring prices down after the war in Ukraine caused by a spike in energy, food, and fertilizer prices worldwide. The rising fertilizer prices were triggered by Western sanctions on Russia, a major exporter of potash, ammonia, urea, and other soil nutrients. At least 4 people have been killed as the protests became increasingly volatile, the government said. The turmoil erupted last week with farmers and trucks blocking some main highways to Lima, leading to a sudden surge in food prices. Near the south city of Lika, demonstrators burned toll booths and clashed with police. Now, a reminder of the top stories. One patient who was receiving medical treatment has fully recovered and discharged from a hospital. Congress of YPFD organization held in Juba. Gallup says almost 97% of Afghans stare at poverty amid grim economic prospects. And in Peru, President Castillo imposes curfew in Lima. That's it for today. Thanks for watching.